Hi, Manny.
Hey,
Nobody else on? Oh, Jean's here. Okay. Milan's here. Okay, where's the rest of your group?
now everybody that's not on the board, and right now the only three people on the board are myself, Alexis, and Lucy. Please do not interrupt the meeting. If you interrupt it, I'm going to put you in the waiting room. I don't believe you can hear or see anything from the waiting room. Okay, I thought I saw David. Didn't you come in? There it is.
Well,
David, can you unmute yourself, please?
sorry, I'm lagging a little bit. Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, well, I can. Alexis, can you hear him?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Get to speak.
David, you asked for about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I just wanted to just
Do you
give
want to
y'all.
turn on, do you want to turn on the video so people can see what you look like?
Sure, I'll be brief. I'm not in my suit and tie, but give me 1 second.
Oh, neither am I.
I'm actually in my. Just give me 1 second. Can you see me?
Hi, David.
Hey, how are y'all? So,
Okay.
Manny, if I did want to just give y'all some quick little updates that I think would be good for the neighborhood to be aware of. There's a big project that's coming down the pipeline that I know that y'all have been wanting for quite some time. There was some preliminary meetings that the public works team had. There was some attendance, but I just wanted to give y'all some of the key, just friendly reminders. And if I can, I don't know if I should proceed now or how y'all go about. You want me to do an introduction of who I am, or just let me know.
The question was, I mean, no, go ahead. You've got
Go ahead.
the floor.
Perfect. So my name is David Alexander. I'm the council member at Pollard's District J. I'm his deputy chief of staff. So most of the time, whenever y'all need something from our office or trying to get any guidance or some help, it's going to come through me. I try to be as responsive as I can. So I did let Manny know that I wanted to just brief y'all on two little things. The first thing, let me just pull up my notes, was regarding some speed cushions. I know our office has been funding speed cushions since we got here back in 2020. And I think there's two main streets, if I'm not mistaken, Manny, that are still missing them. And I think it's Jason and Imogene. I believe Ariel, Birdwood, Shadowcrest, Reamer, and Valley View all have cushions. We did put some of our CDSF back then in the previous years to get those done. So now this time we're funding a total of, I believe, four, two on Jason and two on Imogene. Reason being is we've been getting some concerns from some of the residents in that area that since there's no speed cushions there, people are using those streets as cut through. So it's just the project would be just to finalize wrapping up speed cushions in that area. So I know the city had sent out some feedback requests back in January. So y'all should be getting those soon if you haven't already. Any questions on that? Comments, concerns?
We're fine.
Perfect. Someone said they just got them this week. Yeah. So on our end, it showed that they should have sent them out December 19th. But if y'all just got them this week, make sure to fill it out. Make sure to give your feedback. If you have any concerns, if you have any issues, you can Manny, feel free to give out my cell phone to whomever. I try to be as transparent as I can. And then the other big thing that I want to let y'all and make sure that y'all are aware. I did attend this meeting, and I think it's very important for y'all to know. It is the the city's calling it the Braeburn Glen. It's the drainage, the major drainage project, and let's see if I can put a link in the chat so y'all can have it, so y'all can view it, so y'all can ask questions. And it's called the Braeburn Glen area. That's all, that's the title of it, but the reason why I'm bringing this to your attention, because this is a project that cost, I believe, around $23 million. And what it is, essentially, it's gonna bring some, drainage, flood improvements and, as I speak. So the Braeburn Glen area project is gonna primarily focus on, reducing the flood risk and enhancing and strengthening the neighborhood drainage infrastructure. It's going to, the main goal is to improve the stormwater system. And these are just some notes that I took. It's going to be roughly 2.5 miles of pavement work. So aside from the drainage infrastructure, you all should get some improved roadway, improved streets. So it should total 2.5 miles of pavement work. The lines of stormwater that are going to get enhanced are about 10,000. 9,873 lines of stormwater and a total, I believe, 79 improved stormwater drains. So this project is, I'm not the engineer, but this is a very important project for y'all's area that should help with some of the flooding that is occurring. They're essentially going to replace the outdated stormwater pipes, install new inlets, new manholes. They are going to also, at the same time, and this is important to note, they're 9100 Fondren, Manny, that's over there by Fondren and South Braeswood. There's that big empty lot that's also going to be turning into a detention pond. And just to let y'all know, the project, I did ask him yesterday for the most updated information. It should begin in summer of 2026, so that's actually not too far away. That's in a couple of months. I did get that confirmed that it should begin between summer. They're thinking between July and September. Currently, they're wrapping up the design phase. And yes, the big important question, and we always like to ask, is before they do anything, they once they select the contractor, the city of Houston is going to have a quote unquote how to prepare for construction, because it is going to impact a lot of the residents. It should impact some of the adjacent streets. So that is another meeting that I'm marking down to make sure that, Manny, that I let you know once that begins and once that occurs, because like I said, this is a major project.
Okay,
Sorry if I ran through that, but I just going down some of the notes that I took. And like I said, that is a very, very, very important thing for y'all to be aware of. Attendance was rather low at the previous meeting, so I just wanted to be here and remind you all of that. If you all have any questions, am I able to put something in the chat? So I just put a link to the if you click on that link, it takes you to the project page. That's the project for y'all's area. And if y'all have any questions or concerns, feel free to shoot me an email. I'm not with their engineering team, but if I can, I'll be more than happy to make myself a facilitator to get y'all in contact with them. So I just put my email and I'll put myself. So it's all there for y'all.
David, one question.
Go ahead.
The storm sewer improvement, what you call the drainage, is it still scheduled to begin this summer?
Yes, sir. It's still, I just asked their team yesterday if it's still slated to begin this summer, because on their website it says summer 2026. They're thinking sometimes between July and September of this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, this is only storm drainage, not street improvements. For the person that asked about if it included Braeburn Glen. They won't be doing anything to the street.
It should actually include street improvements. Yes, sir.
It will after they.
So 2.5 miles. Does that road include Braeburn Glen? I don't know exactly which streets are gonna. It's gonna be a total of 2.5 miles. What I recall from the meeting, what exactly is going to be touched, I'm not sure, but per the map, it's let me see if it says. It doesn't really, it just provides the boundary. It doesn't say what is going to be done. It just gives Highway 59 South Gessner, and then of course Ray's Bayou Bissonnet. So that's the boundary. So everything within that threshold is game. That is something I can ask, but it doesn't give me any additional details on that. But that's a great question. I could bring it back to them and ask.
Okay.
You can
Because
contact me. I'll do that for you.
because I hadn't seen any street improvements on the project. I have been looking at it. All I saw were storm sewers, but I could see where after they basically tore up the streets, they would in fact have to do something about them. So,
Yeah, it's once they break that concrete, that they're supposed to go back, do the restoration, and redo that. So it's I'll repeat it again: 69 improved storm drains, the stormwater pipes, and all that stuff that is replacing. It should be about 9,873 lines. So that's a good amount, and it says here 2.5 miles of pavement work. So it should include street work.
yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else, David?
No, I'm good. If all my information is in the chat, there is another project that is in symbiosis with this, which is the detention pond at 9100 Fondren. They should commence around the same time. That one, it's just giving y'all, it's the detention. It should give more capacity. I did have some of the numbers. I don't know how interested you all will be on that, but I can definitely let you know. So for that, it's a detention pond that should begin around the same time. And essentially what that does is it should ease some of the pressure on Brae's Bayou. And it is it should hold what it says here, 18.5 million gallons. The depth to the bank, 17.5 to 19.5, 95% slope. Not an engineer, but 18.5 million gallons is a lot of water. That's not going to be for streets. So that's just some additional information that I was able to get on that. And I'm going to see if Manny, that's all I have on my end. But I'm going to make sure that I can at least get y'all some information on that project. Just to be here. See.
Yeah, well, thank you, David.
Yes, sir. I'm about to link it in the chat so you can see that project. They should start about the same time. One of them is in y'all's neighborhood. The other one is just increasing capacity by creating a detention basin. So I'm going to link that in the chat right now. And like I said, my information is there. Any questions, please feel free to reach out.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Have a good day. Y'all take care.
There's someone in here identified as homeowner. Could you identify yourself besides homeowner?
There's two people that say iPhone too also.
Now, they didn't identify themselves, but one, I didn't stop the elections. I want to make that perfectly clear.
Oh,
The
you're such
reason
a
we never
fucking
sent out a
liar.
ballot is that 3 of the board members did not show up to two of the meetings. In one of the meetings where we're going to vote on the list of people to send out, basically the board decided didn't do anything. So we were stuck. We were 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving and we ran out of time. So I didn't stop the elections. I want to make that perfectly clear. Then out of the clear blue, somebody said, we have a secret board and we've taken over, give us everything. That's not how things are done. So
also
right
bad.
now there are 3 board members, myself, Alexis, and Lucy. And we have a board meeting. Now,
Where's
after
Lucy?
the board meeting, I'll be happy to answer some of the questions, but not all of them. I don't want to get into an argument with anybody. If you don't like what you see, that's fine. There are a process to get rid of the board. I suggest you use it. But you're gonna have to do some work to do that. Now, last year, the board voted that we were not collecting assessments for this year. On the agenda for this board meeting is that we'd not collect assessments for 2027 also. And I'll go over that during the board meeting. Now,
Can I ask you a question on that quickly? Do you mind? It's
talking?
Barbara Burdick.
Make it quick, Barbara.
I'm just gonna ask.
I interrupt again. I'm gonna put you in the waiting room.
Again, this is the first time. You asked if we had questions.
No, I said you
Anyway,
do it
I
again.
just wanted
Now-
to ask, what was it you just said? Now I lost my train of thought. What- Oh, if you waive the fees this year, there will never be another fee because you cannot increase the fee over 3% of the prior year, which is 0, right?
Wrong. We can increase it. It's at 53 right now. We're just not collecting.
Okay.
Okay?
Isn't it a little premature to not to determine what you're gonna collect for the next year?
Who's
I mean, wouldn't
talking?
that be later in the year?
Barbara,
I'm just asking. I'm just asking a question. Fine, don't answer me.
Okay, there's a question here from homeowner.
Gene, you interrupt again. You're gonna go to the waiting room also.
I'm just saying homeowners ask a question and you haven't answered.
We're having a board meeting, and if you're not on the board, you can't talk right now. After the meeting, he'll answer questions. So write your questions down so you can ask them.
In fact, there's a chat. I mean, just put it there on the chat. Okay, now there's 3 people on the board, myself, Alexis, and Lucy. I don't believe Lucy is here right now, but 2 makes a quorum, so now the agenda is approval of the budget for this coming year, collection of assessments for 2007. We're going to discuss a rain garden that flood control has contacted us again about. And a discussion on board membership. What to do about the fact that there was no election last year. So, Alexis,
Yes,
I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
I think that, I approve the agenda with the exception of not collecting assessments next year and on 2027. I think
Now, we're not voting on those right now. We're just voting on
Oh.
the agenda. You can vote against
Oh, okay, I approve the agenda.
it. Okay. Now, the budget for this coming year is there on the screen. If you have a computer, chances are you can see it. If you're on a phone, chances are you cannot. Insurance, our insurance just for directors is running about $6,000 a year. The property taxes on the Mahoning Street is, in fact, was $2,962.38 for last year, and it's been paid. Our website is, I'm estimating 600, but it'll probably be less because last year we paid for the hosting, which is the most important part, for 3 years, so we shouldn't have to pay again for another 2 years. Landscaping, 3,000. Now, that's 1,000 more than last year, because there's a property on Reamer that we need to discuss. Then
Okay,
$400 for one newsletter. Zoom, $200. Now, Zoom was actually due this month, and it's already been paid, and it was a little less than that. Mosquito spraying, it's about 2,800 a year. Legal, 1,000, although I do not anticipate having to use that. Miscellaneous, 1,000. That's just in case of emergencies, which is a total of $17,962.38. Anticipated income is about $1,000. Now, that is from the sale of houses. When a house sells here in the neighborhood, we collect a fee from either the seller or buyer. It's between them who pays it. And it's $350. There's a lot of paperwork that has to be filled out. I've been doing it. Last year, I believe there were like 15, 16 houses that sold. So, and we collected all of those. Right now, cash on hand, we have, as of December 31st, 2025, $77,747. Now, I make a motion that we approve the budget. Alexis,
I second that motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So the budget passes. Now, I know you can't read this, but this is going back 6 years. And this is how much money we had on hand at the end of December 31st. In 2020, we had $77,488. 2021, we had $65,684. Now, what happened there is that that's when they hired the management company. So while they did raise a little bit more money than they had raised in 2020, they paid out a lot more because the management company was costing about 20 some odd $1,000 a year. So as you can see, we had about, let me see, that's about $12,000 less. In 2022, a new board took over, and I actually asked the management company that start not charging us for a lot of things that I could not make any sense of. We were paying for things that I could not understand why we were doing that. And so by doing that and basically tightening our belt, we managed to keep it at about the same. At that time, we still had the Civic Clubhouse. In 2023, and in December, we had right a little less than 67,000. We still had the Civic Clubhouse, but we had lowered the assessments to $50. So we basically stayed about the same. Then in 2024, we went up to 69,000 at the end of December. And then this year, we ended up with a $77,747 at the end of December 31st. We don't have a lot of things that we have to pay for. In fact, the mosquito spraying, that contract ends in 2 years, this year and next year. So we can cut that out. The property on
would
my
we?
home, I'm sorry?
Why would we cut that out?
Well, I'm just saying we could, not that we have to. So there's some things where we can still lower cost. Now, on Bremer, a couple of years ago, a little less, but a house burned down.
Right.
And that property has basically, the weeds are very high. It's overgrown. There have been complaints and you know, I have been talking with the city, but there's really not much they can do. Honestly, the city really does not have any money. Now, what I'm suggesting is that that $1,000 I added to the landscaping be used on this property to kind of maintain it a little better. Now, we don't have anything in the bylaws that would allow us to do that, but there is precedent because we've been doing it on the property on Mahoning. Mahoning is not our property. It's not the Civic Club's. Has never belonged to the Civic Club. So what I'm suggesting is that we use $1,000 to help maintain that lot. You know, if you drive by there, in fact, that's the only lot that really is that bad in the neighborhood. So I'm suggesting that.
I
Go ahead.
I think that's a good idea.
And then
I
the last page, this is what David was talking about. And I'll be sending this out to everybody that has an email. So back to the budget or the agenda. So we approved the budget. Now, collection of assessments for 2027. It's my understanding that Alexis, you're against not collecting for 2027?
Yeah, I think that's too far. Only reason I'd say that, yes, we have money in the bank. Yes, we have money we can do, but I really believe that that's too far out. We don't know what can happen. There might be something we have to use that money for. You know, we could be hit with another COVID or another Harvey or something we got to spend money on.
With
So I think
another-
it's really too soon to say that.
I'm sorry, with another what?
You couldn't hear me?
For another Harvey?
Well, you know, when Harvey hit, you know, we needed them resources to
No,
in the
actually,
neighborhood.
no, actually, we didn't. We didn't do that. What we did stop, and which we had started, was collecting from people that were behind. We stopped that. And we didn't put pressure on people to pay their assessments. And so
Mhm.
our collections went down some. But that's what happened because I was president at that time. So I know why I did it. I'm not sure what the board, but they approved it. I mean, I don't know what their thoughts were, but I know what my thoughts were. So as far as I know, I don't recall at any time that we really have needed a lot of money because what would we need money for? We really are not responsible for anything now, not even the Civic Club building. I mean, there is nothing that we're legally responsible for. We're not responsible for the property on Mahoney. If we quit landscaping and we could stop paying the property taxes, we could. We're not responsible for that. So we don't have.
I get that, but I think there's always should be a cushion, even if we put the assessments at $25 or something,
No,
just
well,
in case
we can't
there
do
was something
25.
we had to tap into.
We, well, at the end of 2 years, we should have around $40,000 in cash, which is, to be honest with you, is what we had in 2016 when I first became president. When Don Hickle left, I think we were up near 70. But when I became president in 2016, well, welcome, Lucy.
Sorry, I had a work meeting and it went over the time
Mhm.
allotted. I really apologize.
It's no problem.
Well, welcome, Lucy.
So we're discussing assessments for 2027.
Okay,
And so we, all it would do, Alexis, if we didn't collect for next year, and I'm not suggesting 2028, because then we do have to start collecting. What should be happening is using this next 2 years is collecting from, there's still about 30% of the people who have not paid their assessments. Now, when we hired an attorney to go after them, we did very well. But last year, we didn't do that, not as much.
Okay,
So there's still about 40 some odd thousand in assessments that we can collect from people that are
okay,
in arrears. So
Okay.
it's not that I just don't know how much money we can collect.
right,
But it's not like there won't be any collecting or that we can't do any collecting. In fact, one of the things that the insurance that we pay for, they're always concerned that our collection rate is so low. And it is.
okay,
At one point, we were barely at 50% collection. We brought it up over the last 2 years, and we need to bring it up some more. So what we're discussing now, Lucy, is whether to waive the collection of assessments for 2027 also. Now, you know, while $53 is not a lot of money, you know, there's a lot of people hurting in this neighborhood, whether you realize it or not. When the board took over after the management company, just to give you an example, there was an elderly couple. They had both had health problems. They were struggling, and they asked if we could please give them time. You know, and I told them, sure, just send whatever you can when you can. So when they had a chance, it would send $25. Sometimes it would send 50, but they caught up. And, you know, there's people right now struggling. There's a lot of people that do construction. I've talked to several of them where they used to be busy all the time. Right now, they may have 3 to 4 days of work now. There are people that are struggling. And we don't need the money. And while it's not a lot of money, you know, $53 in their pocket makes more sense than $53 in our pocket. So anyhow, that's my reasoning for doing that. And I just don't see that, you know, I've never known this neighborhood to really need that kind of money. The only time was maybe, and Don Hickle would probably know more about that, is when we were helping the Recreation Association pay for the swimming pool. So I'll make a motion that we vote to not collect assessments for 2027. A second.
So, okay, so just to clarify and make sure that I'm understanding correctly, so there won't be any assessment charges for year 26 or year 27?
That's correct.
Okay, and so I'm sorry, I did go through the paperwork yesterday, but because, you know, this is a new year at work, we are super busy. So I just went through it real quick. I breezed through it. I didn't have a chance to like go through it thoroughly. But will there be any impacts to any other maybe charges that we have throughout the year? Or are we maybe looking to still have enough balance left in case something of urgent matter were to come up?
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm sure
That's
you guys
okay,
already talked about this.
that's my thought exactly. What
Okay,
if something comes
can you
up?
see that budget?
Yes, I can see it.
All right. We need to have insurance for the directors.
Correct.
The state basically requires that we have a website. Now, I do the website. I have been doing websites for maybe 15, 20 years. We don't have to do any landscaping. We don't have to do a newsletter.
Okay.
We don't have a place to meet, so we should keep Zoom, but that's only $150.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually because we had a discount and today was the day to renew, we got so it was a little bit of, well, I guess about 160. Mosquito spraying, we don't have to have mosquito spraying. We really have not had much use for legal over the years.
Mhm.
Miscellaneous, that just means that's like a little emergency fund if something comes up and we need money.
Right.
So if the only thing we need to pay really is the insurance, the website, Zoom.
Okay.
So we're looking at about, what is it, $9,000? That's not a
Okay.
lot of money.
Mhm.
And after 2 years, I anticipate we're still gonna have over $40,000.
Okay.
So it's not like our civic club is gonna be broke. It
Okay.
won't.
Yeah, that would be my biggest concern, that we left our funds at almost depleted and then something comes up and we're not going to have that money. And I may be jumping the gun, but I think I also saw something about one of the properties that we were questioning whether we want to maintain it or something around that. And so if that's going to come out of this fund, then, for sure we need to have enough money to support that.
See where it says, well, I misspelled landscaping. See where it says $3,000?
Yeah.
I added $1,000 and that's for the property on Reamer. I don't know if you've seen it. That's for that property. I think for $1,000, we can more or less maintain it so it doesn't look as bad. I know
Right.
that one of the residents lives near there is having to put out basically poison to keep out the rats, the
Okay.
possums and things like that.
Uh-huh.
And we're doing it for the property on Mahoning, which is not ours either.
Okay.
So we actually have a precedent for doing that. Our bylaws does not say we can do it, but it's been done for probably at least 20 years. So
Okay.
maintaining a property that does not belong to us, but it also helps improve the value of the houses around it and the neighborhood.
I agree.
So is that the one you were talking about?
Yes, yes, that's
It's
the one.
already on the budget. In the
Okay.
budget. And besides, that's for this year. Next year, we see that it's too much, we can always take it off.
Okay.
In fact, we can stop paying to maintain any of those properties at any time.
Okay.
Okay? So there's no legal obligation for us to maintain them.
Okay.
Okay? So
That's
back to
not
the
true.
budget. And if you're not on the computer, I know you can't see it. But no, we've already approved the budget. The agenda. The collection of assessments for 2027. I had made a motion that we waive the collection for 2027. Any second?
I second.
Okay, motion has been made and second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That's 2 ayes. So it passes.
Mm-mm-mm.
Back to the agenda. Rain garden. Now, last week, I got contacted again about a rain garden that would be basically constructed and maintained for 2 years by the flood control. And it would be at the corner of Braeburn Glen and Valley View, those empty properties.
Mhm.
So
And is that gonna attract mosquitoes?
no, in fact, I asked him about that. Because, and he says, no, it's designed to where it does not attract or mosquitoes will be maintained there. He asked about us helping plant some trees, and I said, well, I'm getting a little bit too old to help, but well, in fact, I know I'm too old to help too much. But he said that no, that the contractors would do all of that. So what it
Okay.
will do, it will make that corner attractive. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So, but we don't have to vote on that. I just told him that he asked if anybody disapproved of that, and I said, well, last two times that I told him that about it, nobody said they were against it. So I'm assuming that nobody is against it. So he said they're going to start next month, but we'll see.
And
Have,
is there any advantage except the looks of it?
have they showed any plans on the website or anything that could be shown to the neighborhood?
Correct. We're almost finished. Can you wait just a little bit, minute, please?
Um, is there any advantage other than the look of it?
Advantages?
Or yeah,
Well, anytime you make a neighborhood better, there's advantages to property values. Now,
right. But I meant, is there flood control advantages or anything like that? It's just pleasing to the eye, right?
yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that that's what it was. Sorry.
And so it's, and our values have gone up, although I'll be honest with you, this year,
Yeah, they are up.
there probably will not, they probably may go down some, just like all the other properties around us, simply because of the economy. In fact, we had, I believe it was 15 houses that sold, but no houses have sold in the last 3 months. So the sale of houses, at least in this neighborhood, just stopped completely.
Yeah. Nobody's buying houses right now.
And so it's, well, if they don't sell, our values don't go down. They stay the same, I guess. But so it's the hike and bike trail. Everything I read suggests that hike and bike trails also increase the values of properties between 5 to 10%, simply because they attract certain type of people that like to go biking and walking and running. So I expect that's going to happen, and it'll want more people, or more people would want to move in here for that reason. So, but that's long term. Okay. Now, we've gone through the budget. Now, board members, if there's anything that you all want to discuss, I'll be happy to do that. And after that, I'll start answering some of these questions. I'm sure there's a lot of people that have questions to ask.
I have no other questions.
Lucy?
No
Okay.
questions.
I'll make a motion that the board meeting be adjourned. Do I hear a second?
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Okay. It passes. The meeting is over. I am going to open it up to I'm going to go through the chat first. The first one is homeowner says, I would like to hear why he blocked election. I actually responded to that. I did not block an election. Who is on the board? Alexis Mendoza, myself, Manuel Barrera, and Lucy. How many years has it been since our neighborhood had an election? 2 years. In 2023, we didn't have enough people to even send out notices. People didn't volunteer. And so we had an election, but nobody showed up. Why not collect? I think we discussed that. Will there be an election? That's up for discussion. certainly we can have an election and we can send out a ballot. But I'd like to know what some of these new board members want to do with the board, especially since they try to take it over without an election and wanting me to just not be on the board, period, in any capacity. I'd like to know what's on their mind. What do they want to do with the community? You know, the only complaint that I got from some of them was, we need to send out letters. And I never said we can't send out letters. All I said was, go ahead and do it. I have no problem with letters going out to, somebody who has a messy front yard. But who's going to do the work? In fact, since we're not collecting, and I've been doing the collecting apart from almost everything else, I intended to donate give some of my time to sending out letters, but hopefully someone would take the photographs and the address and send them to me so I can send out the letters. Sending out letters is not as easy as it sounds. First, if we send out a letter, we have to keep a record of it for at least 7 years. So, and if we're going to find them, then we also have to convene a board to listen to them. We have to give them an opportunity to contest the violation. When the management company was here, they sent out about 100 letters, certified letters saying you owe us $75. Some of those people paid the $75. And they, we didn't have anything that allowed them to do that. And yet they did it. And state law requires that a board convene and give them an opportunity to protest it without threatening legal action as soon as they, the board may say, no, you're not allowed to. And that's what those letters said. I know because I got one, but I didn't pay them. Because for one thing, we did have a fine schedule, and I'm the one that had written the fine schedule. So I know that $75 was not in that fine schedule. They didn't even bother reading our bylaws. So what happened to the slate of folks who were wanting to run for election? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, actually, there's 2 Melanie, please. 5. Are here. So I guess they're still in the neighborhood. Antonita, Batar, can you hear me?
Who?
It's Antonita Batar. She lives on Nairn. Dietrich is his last name. Do you know her, Lucy? I think.
No, I don't.
Yes, I do live on Nairn Street.
Okay. I don't have your email because I was going to email you. Could you? It wasn't on. I'm not sure how I got your name as wanting to be on the board, but I do not have your email. I believe I may have your brother's or somebody else's. Eric?
I will send you my email then. No worries.
Okay.
Thank you.
And let me ask you, are you still interested in being on the board?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Antoinette, are you the lady that came by? I'm Lucy, the homeowner with the house that got lifted. Are you the lady that came by and told me that your house is going to get lifted as well?
It's looking that way, but they've delayed it. So
Okay,
we'll see.
okay. So yeah, so I
Still
know
up
who
in
you
the
are
air. Still up in the air.
Okay. Now, it wasn't on the agenda, but I can schedule another board meeting. And, there's 2 ways of doing this. We can actually get people on the board and do it that way, or we can spend, hundreds of dollars and send out ballots. Because I can tell you right now that this is the first time in over 10 years that so many people had volunteered to run.
I
So,
think I think that with you said there's 15 homes sold, I think there's more new homeowners that are willing to be a part of the neighborhood. So that's initiative of seeing what the neighborhood can be progressing to. There could be a lot of new bright ideas that can help support not the committee of the neighborhood, and see where we can have future plans, like you said, that water garden, bring value to the neighborhood, but also be aware of what's going on within the neighborhood as well. So if there is an influx of people wanting to participate, that isn't necessarily a bad thing. We should take advantage of that. And
no, I haven't, I have no problem with that, but I know your name wasn't, Craig, are you the person that lives right there on the corner of Imogene and Mahoney?
yeah, so I'm also a homeowner that was recently victimized. I was broken into, and that's the reason why I'm here. I want to see changes.
Okay. Now,
If we had an entire slate that wanted to run, how come we aren't having an election? I'm sorry, but I just don't understand that.
okay, let me go over the history, Barbara.
No, we
October
don't
30,
need history. We need an answer to the question. We've talked history. We've talked a lot. I'm sorry. I'm not
you know
trying to be
what?
rude.
Barbara, you are rude.
I'm not trying to be rude, Manny. I'm just saying
Well, you do it
there is
without
a
trying.
whole bunch of people who would like to run for office and you need to hold an election. That is in the bylaws.
Actually, that's not quite true, but
Yes,
you
it
are
is.
rude whether you're trying to or not.
No,
Now,
you're taking me as rude and I'm sorry you do.
now, let me start over again. The reason there was no election, October 31st, we had a board meeting. We could not reach an agreement as to the slate. And in fact, I was told I had to step down on that day. And I said I had changed my mind about resigning. But there was a list, and I was on that list, and they said I couldn't be on the list. So nothing was done.
Okay, but
Now, will you shut up for just a minute,
oh,
Barbara?
don't
And
be
let me
so
finish?
rude. Now that's being
That's
rude.
fine, because you keep interrupting me. I didn't interrupt you. Now stop, please. Now, I scheduled the meeting for the following week. 3 board members did not show up. So I rescheduled for the following week. We were now 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving. And 3 board members again did not show up. Now, we have Thanksgiving and then Christmas. If everything had been done the way it should have been, the ballot would have gone out on October 31st. In fact, I was told that it was already at the printer. Well, I'm still waiting for those ballots, because if they were at the printer, they never got printed and they never got mailed out.
That's because you told them they couldn't.
Now, I can be patient, but if you're rude, I don't take that too well. I'm trying to be nice. Now, Gene, I'm going to ask you a question. What does the board intend to do? Assuming you had gun control, what is your intention? Hello, Gene? I mean, you sent me a letter telling me I had to get out immediately. I was waiting for the lawsuit. It never came. Melanie, are you still interested in being on the board?
Manny, this is Nelly Gonzalez on Shadow Crest.
Yeah.
I thought I was on the board, but I don't know why I am not on the board anymore.
Because
Um,
Nelly, you missed 3 meetings in a row. You know, when we
Okay,
only,
is that grounds to get kicked off?
yes,
I mean, you yourself said, you know, we got to work, we have to pay our bills. Sometimes I can't make the meetings.
Nelly, did you tell us?
I'm listening.
Did you tell us? You know, but you missed 3 meetings in a row, Nelly. In fact, I contacted you on one of them, you know, because I knew that we were going to need 3 board members at least. Now, you know,
You have to also keep in mind, Manny, that it's a volunteer basis, and we're all here for the exact same thing. We only want our community, our neighborhood to grow. We want our land and our homes to go up in value. We want it to be safe. We want it to be friendly. We really want it to be friendly. Um,
Yeah,
and I think that there's a lot of working against everyone, and that's not good. You know, we need to just all work together. I apologize 3 different times if I missed 3 different meetings, but we need to work together. We need to work together.
Nelly,
You
that
know,
was,
you said earlier that everything falls on your lap. You're the one that's having to do everything. There's a lot of people right now willing to help. Like, let us help you not do so much. You know, let us help you make sure that everybody gets the word on what we're trying to do to make our neighborhood safer, better, nicer. Let's work as a team. You know, let's work as a team, all of us together, all of us together. I've been here 30 plus years, and this is one of the reasons why I never wanted to get involved. There's always so much bickering going on with all the neighborhood, and it's a huge turnoff. It's a huge turnoff. But now I have a little bit more time. I've since retired from working with HIC for 30 years. I want to give back, but I don't want to. I don't want to be in this kind of stuff. You know, I want us to meet. I want us to have coffee. I want us to get a drink. I want us to sit and throw back ideas about what helps, what doesn't help. What do you think? No, what do you think? Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's a better idea than I had. Like that. That's the kind of camaraderie that we need to have, because this is all of our neighborhood. This is all of our neighborhood.
Nelly,
I'm still listening, Manny.
first of all, there really has not been that much bickering
Mm.
in the until recently, and what, 3 years ago, but there really has not been that much bickering. So not in the board. Alexis, you've been here since 2000, what, 22 for sure, right?
yeah.
Did we have a lot of bickering among the board?
No, we're not having a lot of bickering among the board. The only bickering has been just recently.
So it's
And
not,
that started when we were trying to get an election going. And everything blew up because some people tried to take over before they were even in charge.
so let me ask you something, Nelly. If you're back on the board, you promise you're going to try to make as many meetings as possible, and certainly let us know in advance. Can you do that?
Yes, I can do that, Manny.
Okay, I'm going to schedule another board meeting. I already told and Antoinette, how do you pronounce it? Antonetta? And anyhow, I already told her that there's 2 ways of doing that. You know, we can build up the board and save hundreds of dollars by just voting people in. And your name was on there, and Antonetta was there. I've asked Melanie Uh, if she's interested, I don't know if her mic is muted, but if she's interested, certainly she's, I have no problem with her. Uh, Craig, if you're interested, let us know, send us an email. And I'll schedule a meeting for next and, we can vote you all in. There's no problem. Dean, I'm waiting for an answer as to what you intended to do with the board that was so urgent that you couldn't wait 2 months to be president.
I'm sorry, I had a question. You said to vote me into the existing group or for a new
Yes.
Well, it
election?
wouldn't be the existing one because there would be additional people, but yes.
Okay.
Manny, in answer to your question, you wanted me to take over. It really wasn't ever my plan. My hope was that we would have an election and then we would have a new board and we would just do what Nellie was saying, just make our neighborhood cleaner. Make sure that people aren't putting out trash 2 weeks or 3 weeks ahead of time, not parking on the grass. There was never any secret meetings like you were saying.
No,
But it really doesn't make any difference what I say, because you've got your way of thinking and I have my way of thinking. And
Gene, I have a certified letter from you saying I had to turn everything in and there was this board and I couldn't figure out who was on the board, but I imagine it must have been more than you that was taking over.
well, it was everyone but you because you had quit.
Who's everyone?
I didn't get it. I
It
didn't
was
get no notification, and I was on the board.
And neither did
It was
Nellie, at least that's what she told me.
Nellie, David Martinez, Alexis, me.
No, Alexis didn't get nothing.
No, well, that letter didn't go to you, Alexis, hun. That went
Why?
to Manny. Okay,
Why
you
am
go
I
ahead,
not on the
Manny.
board?
Okay. All right, I'm out.
So Melanie, are you still there? Homeowner, you haven't identified yourself. Okay, Craig. So right now you would be looking at Lucy, myself, Alexis, Nellie, Antonetta, and yourself.
Manny,
So,
But
Manny,
I have a question. So, in my understanding, you're saying that non-board members don't have a input in my voting in?
no, you can wait until we have an election if you want to. That's no problem.
No, I'm just trying to get an understanding. 'Cause like I said, I say that because I don't know everyone that's here, but I have been able to meet other people in the neighborhood as well.
Okay.
So, and I just don't know who
Uh,
is able to meet tonight. So,
Well, normally, Craig, let's put it this way. I first became president in 2016. And that's because I volunteered. It's I found that my name was listed on a ballot for president. Nobody asked me if I wanted to be president. And the only reason I took it is because my wife says, go ahead and do it. So, and before, the way they used to do it is they had nominating committees. Except the state says that's not the way it's supposed to work. And so, and I'm glad that 10 people want to be on the board. In fact, we could make it 20, but that's not one of the problems that we've had over the years. It's been a lot of years since we've even managed to get a quorum. There's been many times when we had board meetings. And just to give you an idea, I've been the president 2016, 17, 18, 19, 22, 23, 24, and 25. And so I can tell you, it's not having too many people that's the problem. It's finding people willing to volunteer to even show up for meetings. And a homeowners association, I'm going to be honest with you, it's a very complicated association. In fact, let me grab
I
a book.
I understand that, but with you saying that, I think it would only help to have more board members on board to kind of validate any type of motions that are brought before the neighborhood. I say that because if there's ever situations where, just like Nelly said, she wasn't able to attend, you still have majority or more people than just the two that are on now. Um,
Well, first of all, let's say there's 10 board members. 6 board members are going to have to be present for anything to be conducted or voted on. In other words, a quorum has to be there. That's state law.
mhm.
So it's not just having a lot of people, but if only 3 people show up to a board meeting, then nothing gets done. You got to have 6 if you have 10. If you have 15, you got to have 8. If you have 3, you got to have 2. We had 5 for 2 years. And if you have 5, 3 have to show up. And even that way, sometimes we did not have 3 people show up. So it's,
I understand. I'm just, I just, with the new neighborhood growing and, like you said, 15 more people moving in, I think there's an initiative that the neighborhood can capitalize on and try and grow to a better future for our neighborhood. So
now, and actually, title company normally sends me the name of the new owners. About half of those houses were bought by investors. So this renters are going to move in there.
well, even more reason for us to try and make motions for those people that are investors, and they're not helping the neighborhood essentially. So
Uh, I mean, you're right. But they do want the value of their properties to go up for the most part. But there are problems. But the problems we're having, they're all the same. If you can go to I forgot what it's called, that I go every other month to, where basically there's a civic, presidents or members of civic clubs meet together to discuss the problems of the neighborhoods. All of us have the same problems. Somebody brought up parking on the grass. In 2022, I spent countless hours making sure that we got into the Houston city ordinance that prohibits cars from parking on the grass, and they can get up to a $250 fine. But this year, well, last year, 2025, Mayor Whitmire told the police not to basically do anything about it. Now, our deed restrictions, I don't know if you've read our deed restrictions. They're almost non-existent. It says nuisance. What is a nuisance? So there's really not a lot of things in our deed restrictions that can stop a lot of things. And, we have to try to get creative. If I remember correctly, you're on Imogene. Those speed humps, we got speed humps in 2022, I believe, maybe 23. Speed humps help lower crime, burglaries for one thing. Will it stop them from breaking into your house? I don't know. Maybe not, but it slows the vehicles down. Overall, considering where we at, we really don't have that much crime in this neighborhood.
I would beg to differ. I see a lot that goes on, and I also see a lot of evidence on the street as well.
Like what?
Well, there's just a lot of just mischief. We see a lot of people that park on side streets on front of lots. They'll sit there doing not who knows what. But there's been times where I've seen condoms on the street. Um, and who you can leave that up to your imagination. But when
Now,
but when
is that on the property across from you?
property across from me, and also going back towards the bayou, and also along Braeburn Glen, where you said the water garden is gonna go. Um, I've seen it in a few different areas. Um,
Now, Craig, just out of curiosity, how are we gonna stop that?
well, you said that we had funds that maybe we could also see about steel going through. I
So,
The SEAL patrol.
you know how much they cost?
I'm not sure, but I know that
It
our
would
block.
cost us over 100,000 a year.
That's I'm not I'm not saying I'm not I'm just all I'm even if we had a patrol car or if we had a good connection with HPD, I'm sure Edward Pollard had his J City patrol, the guys that ride around on the cars. They could drive through one time a week within the neighborhood, stuff like that.
You know, that the mayor stopped the J Patrol cars from doing that?
I'm aware of that. I'm aware of that. But like I said, you said we have funds. I think that, you know, even if we just had a personal relationship with anybody in the neighborhood who has any type of police connection, that would be of great help. I say that I had someone in my home naked upstairs where my child could have been sleeping. And now you saying that we have funds, I almost shot the guy. Okay. I would hate for any of my other neighbors to go through that situation, but at the same time, I also see that they have the same people walking in front of their house. So the concerns that I have were only to better my neighbors in the neighborhood. I'm sure you wouldn't want a naked person that was having some type of psychedelic trip in your home, or want to have condoms in front of your street, in front of your house, because people are doing what God knows what. If we have money in the neighborhood, I see plenty of areas where we can do additional lighting in the streets to prevent some of that crime. I know Edward Pollard is very active. He was actually a high school teacher of mine. So I'm sure we can do something to enrich the neighborhood.
As far as lights, we paid for lights 3 years ago. And we ordered it. In fact, I asked for 9 lights. They only gave us 7. They said that's all we needed. That's the
Well,
city.
if we have funds for it, I think
No,
that
Craig, listen to me. The city has to approve them. It's not what we can pay for. The lights are not that expensive. In fact, they're free now. But the city has to agree that they're needed. The city said we didn't need them. In fact, there's a light close to your house now that was placed there because we paid for that light to be there.
well, I'm thankful for that.
I'm sorry?
I said I'm thankful for that, but I'm sure the rest of the neighborhood can also benefit from it.
But they actually surveyed the entire neighborhood. Everything you're talking about is true. We've looked at seals, we've looked at other things. We have asked for cameras. They denied us cameras. It's not that we're not aware that crimes exist. In fact, where you live at, I reported a guy that was half naked asleep in the yard. But the funny thing is, a lot of the people that live around there passed by there, and none of them bothered to call the police. And so one of the problems we have is people notice things, but they don't call the police. We used to have a lot of prostitution over here in the entry of Braeburn Glen and Bissonnette. Every time we see it, some of us call the police, or we let Councilmember Pollard so we can, to let the police know. And actually, I do have a good relationship with quite a few police officers. But and I used to ask them to drive by the neighborhood, but things have changed with the new mayor. And it's not, the council member, he's the best council member this neighborhood has ever had. I mean,
I agree. I grew up.
so, but
Well,
the problem is that the mayor has, for whatever reason, has gone after our council member. You know, those
Don't like them.
J patrols, he stopped them.
I understand that, and I see it. I just think that there's a lot of things that can, all the things that I mentioned, I think that if there's a will, there's a way. I've always been grown up to that. My mom told me that. And I think that there are a lot of things within the neighborhood that can be changed. And if we have people that are willing to participate in being a part of the board or members, we should capitalize on that and see what type of ideas they could bring along as well. We do not know what the full capacity of what what their network can entail. If you say police officers, I'm sure someone else might know other police officers, or they might know legal people, they might know council members. You don't know, but you can only see what we would only know what we can encourage and bring on.
Yeah, but it isn't. I mean, certainly anything, more than anything, we need people to just report things.
I've reported several times the cops who do not come unless it's a life-threatening emergency.
See, and
HPD, they're not going to come for a vehicle that's just sitting loitering. They won't attend to those calls. Just like you said, they're short. They don't have much. It took HPD 15 minutes to get to my house, and I told them that there was an armed person. So if it takes them that long, they're not going to come for a car that's just loitering. They're not going to come for homeless people just mischievously walking around. They won't come to those calls. I know because I've called them.
now, do you know David Alexander, who was the first person that spoke?
No, I'm not aware of who he is.
He works for Councilmember Pollard. If there's a problem and it needs a little bit of police attention, contact him. He left his phone number up there on the chat. Can you see it? There's a chat button.
I saved it, and I'll keep that in mind.
Let me tell you, that is the best way to get things done. David Alexander. And if the police will come, it'll be because of him. Because, used to, I would just ask them to drive through the neighborhood, just pass through here. And they would, because I think it may be the last storefront over near West Park. And when they go to their police station over on Gassner, I asked them, when you're coming through here, just go through our neighborhood. And they would do that. And you could see police cars. But, things have not gotten better. For whatever reason, this mayor does not like Edward Pollard, and he has made it very, very difficult for him.
Well,
so it also makes it difficult for us, but not just us. That includes Sharpstown and a lot of the other areas around here. Robindale.
I understand that, and with that, that's why we need to empower the board, the committee, anybody that is willing to participate and come in as a force, because it's not going to get done with just 3 or 4 or 5 people. It takes a village to bring a community together, and that's what it's going to take. If Edward Pollard can't do it, then it's going to take more than just yourself and Alexis and whoever else is on board. You just never know. You
Well,
have to.
if you agreed to come on board,
I mean, I can't do it myself either, but I as a
well, there's going to be six of us. But, you know, first of all, you know, although I normally don't tell people, I am an attorney. I've been an attorney since 1983. As an attorney, I have to take CLE classes, that's continuing legal education classes. For the last 10 years, almost all the classes that I take have to do with HOAs, homeowners associations, just to kind of stay abreast of the different laws and how it affects us so that we don't get into trouble. Because all it takes is one lawsuit, one wrongful lawsuit by us, and we lose. And it doesn't matter if we had $200,000, it would all disappear. You know, I can use Sharpstown as an example. There was a they had seal. I don't think they still do, but they had seal. And I don't remember if you read about this woman that got stabbed by a person that had been walking the street, and SEALs had seen him and they didn't report him to the police. So SEALs got sued, and so did Sharpstown. And so if you lose a lawsuit, certain lawsuits, let's put it that way, not only may you lose the judgment, you may have to pay the attorneys for the other side. So it's something that, you know, always have to keep in mind. You know, I have a book that's about 700 pages on HOAs that I keep because of that.
I understand that, and hopefully,
And so it's, you know, what happened to you shouldn't happen at all. I mean, I've called the police previous times and they don't show up. It's if it's already happened, they may take their time coming. For instance, if years ago, a woman said somebody was in their house, they were hiding in their closet. They feared for their life. They called HPD. HPD never showed up. So, you know, there are problems. And, you know, the best thing we can do is actually, you know, when we see someone that doesn't belong, is, you know, call the police. They don't do anything, contact David. You know, it's they still have a very good working relationship with a lot of police officers. So, you know, when I worked for the city, I knew a lot of police officers. Two of my brothers were police officers. I have two nephews that are police officers now. You know, sometimes I would ask them for favors every now and then, but because that's not the way things are supposed to work. But you know, it's not easy.
well,
And so, but the best thing is, all of us, we see something that's not right, call the police. You know, homeless people, same thing. Do you have cameras in your house or around your house?
yeah, I have that. I have cameras. It won't do anything. Like I said, the only solution would be is collectively, as a community, do what we can to try and prevent this. And yeah, like I said, there's additional lighting that can be done. I'm sure if we can provide the evidence to the city and show them the reasoning why, then they can do that. And if not, then we can look into you said that the lights are cheap, then we can place them ourselves. I've seen people do solar light.
No, the city has to agree that they can be placed. The city.
No, I understand that. I'm saying you could provide additional light. You can provide funds to the homes that need the extra lighting, where that essentially happens. If a homeowner needs a $25 headlight to put over their house, or on their fence, something along those lines, that can help. You know, there's a lot of different avenues that we can do. um, outside of the city.
You know, if you drive by my house, except during Christmas, you'll see that I'm well lighted all around. But you drive around the neighborhood, most people may turn on a porch light. And we've had that on newsletters, turn on your lights. They don't do that.
I understand that. I'm not. Look. I'm just trying to come up with ideas and see how, um, people can be more active within our community. And it's. I'm hoping that, in the future to come, that there be an opportunity for people to be a part of our group, and make some changes.
Well, what changed?
The changes that the lighting.
I mean, all of that have been done, Craig. So what changes?
If there, well, you said there's a water garden coming. If a water garden can come, why can't anything else come? If there's a will, there's a way, Manny. That's all I'm saying.
It, it's it's it may be coming because aside from being president, I have a block and I kind of pick on politicians, and sometimes they like to keep me happy. But I'm not sure that's the reason. But you
Well,
know,
use that to benefit the neighborhood and not have those things go on.
so it's but that's one person. We don't get paid. I'll be honest with you. And Gene Wrench, who's already left, it's true. I was tired of being president, but I still wanted to be on the board because I want to know what's happening. I want to make sure that the people are being treated right. It's, and honestly, that property across from you, it's an attractive nuisance. People like to stop there and drink. I mean, people have complained about that over the years and do whatever else they want to do. The person that landscapes it says he always has to pick up beer bottles and things like that. Uh, and so, and we maintain it. We wanted to put a fence around it, that people got so upset because they didn't want a fence around it.
No, because a fence wouldn't help. It would seclude all of the criminal mischief that goes on there already.
It would stop them from going into the property.
No, they would go through. They would jump the fence just the same way how they jump everyone else's fence.
Okay, so anyhow, homeowner, I still don't know who homeowner is. You're muted. If you're saying anything, we can't hear you.
Is there another neighborhood meeting outside of just a board meeting, or is there
We normally have one in March.
so there's not going to be one until March?
Hold on just a minute. Alexis, the meeting's already ended. You can leave if you want to.
Okay, I gotta work early in the morning, so.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, I'm still recording, but it's no problem.
Okay.
Yes, there's a regular meeting, general meeting, normally in March. We usually have 4 of those a year. So, but the number of people you saw here today, Craig, that's the most I've seen since 2020.
Well,
Board meeting or general meeting. Now, when we had the Civic Club, we could get up to 30, 40 people there. But it was, the lease was too expensive and we didn't use it enough. But for Zoom meetings, at least half of the people here in the neighborhood don't know how to use Zoom and don't even know how to use computers.
well, I think that I think if there's an influx of people here tonight, I think there's people that are willing to see um, some type of change within the neighborhood because they see that stuff needs to happen. So, um,
Well, okay, Craig, but it took a crime for you to come because you've lived in the neighborhood for about 2 years, am I correct?
2 years, and we also
This is the first time you've come?
no, it's not. I've attended
When,
meetings.
when,
I've
when?
attended meetings in the clubhouse before it got closed, and I've attended it too. The other times I was working abroad, so I couldn't attend those meetings.
23 was the last year we had the clubhouse.
I know. I attended one of those meetings. I was abroad for 6 months for a year, and outside of that, I couldn't meet. So,
Now,
and there wasn't elections to be on board at that time, and anyway, so I couldn't be a participant.
but Craig, we state and because the state requires it, you can also put a fence up to the basically 10 feet from the city, from the street, which is the city easement. Now, it would have to be uh, metal, what do they call it? Wrought iron fence, which, would maybe solve some of that problem. But for nights, it's usually lights. And, all you have to do is drive around the neighborhood. People don't turn on their lights. But, I mean, we can ask for more lights again, but do me a favor, you drive through the neighborhood.
I do. I ride my bike.
Now, and find a location where you think we need a light, and we'll ask the city if they'll put a light there.
Will do.
Okay?
All right.
Anybody else have anything they want to say?
I think there's some questions in the chat as well.
I've answered all of them, actually.
So you said
No, maybe not. Hold on.
Manny, maybe with that extra money that we have, we can do like some homeowner mingles or something, so that
Homeowners
we
what?
can
I'm sorry, what's that word? Homeowners what?
like a homeowners mingle, so we can like get to meet everybody and see faces. I'm old school. I don't like the Zoom stuff. I liked it when we got to meet, whether it was at the little Civic place or whether it was at the police station. But I think too, everybody gets busy. They're not reading their emails. I hate being on my phone. I like face to face. I want to know, I want to see you when I'm talking to you. So I know that earlier you were stating that, you guys are wanting to waive the 26 and the 27 homeowner fees.
Actually, we already voted. The 26 had already been voted on. And we
Right.
voted for the 27.
Right.
But I mean, we can undo that, but
I don't know. I'm not saying to undo it.
But-
What I was trying to say.
just to give you an idea, there's two places we can schedule meetings. One is at the police station. They actually they have a place there where we can meet and it's free. It just has to be reserved. The other one is at the Bayland Park. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but we actually tried meeting at the police station. We had like 6 people show up. And most
Yeah,
of them weren't
I
in
was
the-
there. I was there at a
Remember?
few of those meetings.
So what we could do if people don't complain, I'll be honest with you, is we can have kind of like a picnic in that property that's right there on Mahoning and Imogene. We just have to be lucky that the weather's good, it's not raining, and we can do that kind of thing in that property. We can't really use the vacant properties that belong to the flood control, but we could use that property for that. But would you be willing to organize something like that?
Yeah, sure. We could maybe take some tables and stuff out there, and it's like kind of like a night out, but more like to the effect of come and meet your neighbors, where do you live? Oh, how long have you been here? Bring a covered dish, some sandwiches, something. Just so when we see each other, we're like, are they part of the neighborhood or where did they come from? Because to be honest with you, I don't know, not even, I don't even know like my neighbors down the street. I don't. And I've been here for 30 years. And I couldn't tell you if you put people up in front of me and say, are these your neighbors? I think I could pick out the neighbors that live in front of me and Barbara and the lady next to Barbara, and that's it. And that's sad.
Uh, you know, we used to have things like that at the Civic Club. Easter egg hunts, Christmas. You know that some of the people that showed up for this meeting would complain that we were wasting money, that we shouldn't be spending money on things like that.
Well, maybe some of those people have already left,
No, they still live here.
maybe and if they don't want to show up, that's fine. That's part of their prerogative to be on the board, and it's also part of their prerogative to have an opinion. What we want to do is we want to know who we live with, right? Like we want to know, oh yeah, that's Tom, he lives on Emma Jean, or that's Craig, he lives on I don't know, whatever next street, or that's Nellie, she lives on Shadowcrest. But I think once we get to just the little basic stuff, let's get to know each other. Let's find out who our neighbors are. Let's chit chat outside of this phone and throw ideas out and be friends, and friends getting together to figure out what works best for our community. I think that there has to be like some kind of starting point so that it could be a different setting other than being on Zoom. Did I already say I hate Zoom? I'm going to say it again.
You know, on those the meetings in the Civic Club.
Can we not get the Civic Club back at all? Can we not like borrow it?
We were using it at the most once a month.
Mm-hmm.
We were paying $9,000 a year. It was going to go up, and they're 5-year leases.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's a lot of money to pay for something you use once a year.
Could we get it back, Manny, by the way, and let like people rent it for like kids' birthday parties, non-alcoholic drink parties? Is that something we can use? It's going to generate, not maybe generate money like income for us, but at least generate enough to pay for itself, and then we can use it whenever we want to for our own gatherings, for our own meetings, but it won't cost us any money from our reserve. Does that make sense?
Once we lease it, we got to pay for the electricity, for the water, all the maintenance, everything. And as far as like the parties, actually, when I was president, we did rent it out, but there was a clause in the contract with the city that a board member has to be there the entire time.
Oh, I see.
So I didn't have a lot of board members that wanted to be there the entire time that was happening. So I wound up being there. And while I said yes often enough, it still was it's something that I didn't really want to do, is to go spend 4 or 5 hours at somebody's parties or quinceanera or,
Whatever. Yeah.
whatever. And in fact, I just got a call a few weeks ago about that. Initially I was hoping that, that property on Mahoning, and we do have a lawsuit trying to get basically title to that property on Mahoning and Imogene.
Mhm.
That once we did that, we could build something there. If nothing else, like a pavilion where we could have meetings or other things.
Yeah.
But the people that live around there don't want anything like that. And so, what does one do?
Yeah.
What does one
Well,
do?
like I said, just ideas on stuff to get us all together, to, get to meet one another, to throw ideas out, to see what is going to be best for the community, for us, for our homes. We all, of course, want our values to go up. We want it mostly to be safe, to be a community where people want to move into. Hey, that Braeburn Glen, I've heard nothing but good stuff. Their houses are clean, the neighborhood is clean. They get together once a month, they do stuff. That's the kind of stuff that maybe we should focus on. Once a month, we get together. If you come, you come, and if you don't, you don't. We can't make it to everything, but I think once we start doing stuff and um, we start letting people know, maybe give a few door prizes, and once they find out, hey, they gave out a $20 gift card to Starbucks to come to the meeting, or as a door prize, or something, a little incentive to get people to go, and at the same time they're going to get very informed about what they can't do in the neighborhood, what's been going on, how they can help. And I think the more informed that we are as a community, I think the more we're going to want to be involved. Do you know what I mean?
We used to have bingos. Remember what I said, that people would complain that we were spending money needlessly doing that for people?
Well, I think we should try and go back to that, and then let's see who complains.
So, but Nelly, although I've got a bad knee and worse, I have a back that's been bothering me a lot. But the best way to meet people is to walk when the days are nice in the spring, when people are likely to be outside. I probably met half the neighborhood when I used to do that.
Manny, I drive through the neighborhood and I
No,
don't
well,
see
I said
people
walk.
outside. I don't see people outside. I drive in the morning when I take the kids to school. When I go drop them off, I come back. I purposely drive through the neighborhood. Um, like I said, I'm retired now, so sometimes when I go, put gas, I come down through the neighborhoods. I every now and then I see, maybe some gentlemen working on their cars on their driveway, but other than that, I don't see people outside. And I don't know, I don't want to walk. I don't want to get bit by a dog. There's a big German Shepherd that they walk around in my neighborhood who sometimes poops in my yard. But that's my worst fear, is to get bit by a dog. So I'm not going to walk, but I will drive. Um, I don't know, there's a lot of things that we could discuss, and there's a lot of things that we can try and implement. If one thing doesn't work, we can hop over to a different one. I mean, we're not going to get it right the first time. I think that our goal would be to try and bring as many people in, try and let them know that we're here, we want to help, and we all have the same goal. We want a happy, we want a clean, we want a beautiful, and most importantly, we want a safe neighborhood. That's what we want. And if I think that if all of us work together, because for sure, like I said, I've been here 30 years. This is my forever home. I'm not planning on going anywhere until I go meet my Lord. But I would like to see it, you know, get better. It's better, but it could still be better. You know what I mean? And I think that if we all work together as a group, if we all pitch in, you know, if we all just do a little, everybody won't be tired, everybody won't get burnt out, because there's so many of us trying to make it a better place that when you can, she can, and when she can't, I can, and when I can't, Craig can. You know, it's all of us working together. That's what it's gonna need to happen. It takes a village. It's gonna take all of us to make our neighborhood great.
You know, Nellie, when I first moved in here, we had block captains for every block who would call in problems.
So let's initiate that again, Manny.
You need volunteers, Nellie.
Well, okay, well, that's why I'm saying, like, we can't have volunteers.
You know, everybody wants to pay for it. For instance,
No,
one of
no,
them
we're
is,
not gonna pay for it.
you know,
I agree on that.
someone asked, let's use seals. You know, we've looked at seals, not me, also the previous president. We cannot afford seals, period.
Yeah, no, I agree on that. And we used to also have
Wash
the
patrol,
neighborhood watch. Remember our neighborhood watch?
yes, and it went away. And now they don't recommend them. You know why?
Why?
If one of those neighborhood watch patrols kills somebody or does something illegal, we're liable. They're our agent. Or if something happens to them, we're liable. And so things have gotten very complicated. It's not as simple as they used to be.
Yeah.
No, I used to be on that watch patrol. I go out at night once a week. Put that little magnetic sign on my car.
Mhm. Yeah, I remember those signs.
And so it's no, you know, it's just things have gotten really complicated. Watch patrols is they cannot, somebody can go out there and drive around, they can stick watch patrol on there, but if they're part of the civic club, we're responsible.
Mm,
If they do anything wrong, we're responsible.
yeah.
And so, you
Well,
know,
maybe if we didn't react unless it was life threatening, but maybe if they just saw that there's people watching our neighbors' homes, maybe that would be a deterrent, you know, maybe not so much to do anything, but, you know, maybe have like a light or a speaker that says, hey, you know, I see you. And maybe, you know, they would make them, you know, think if they were going to try and break into a car or somebody's house or something. I don't know all the rules, Manny. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do.
those are actually good ideas. The problem is getting people to do it. Those are very good.
That's why I think that we should start with bringing people in. Like, let's bring people in, you know. You work at night, okay, well, if you work at night, maybe, you know, you can help patrol, you know, a little bit in the afternoon once you got your sleep in, you know, you're eating your lunch before you go to your night job. Maybe you can do an hour and a half, and, you know, walk, ride your bike, ride around, whatever, however you want to do it, and just, you know, check it out, you know, let everybody know, hey, you know what? You don't know who's watching our neighborhood. Somebody's watching our neighborhood because
Oh,
we all work together here.
Nellie, you said you would show up next month?
Yes, I will.
Okay,
Can you
I
give me the
have your,
date already?
I'll have your email. I'll let you know when gonna have a next
Can you
board
text
meeting.
me, Manny? Can you text me? Can you
Send me
text me and tell me?
I'm not real good at that. I'll be honest with you. Uh, let's put it this way. I delete myself from my family's texting.
Oh, see, I'm a texter. You know
And
why?
so,
Because the texting gives me a ping, and that lets me know that I got new information. And an email, it
Hey
won't.
Nelly, what if you, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but what if you start like a WhatsApp chat and add all of us? Because that would help me out tremendously. I work for a global company, and a lot of times I have late evening meetings. And I promise you, if it wasn't because I was looking at my phone and my meeting, of course, went over, I would have never remembered that I had this meeting.
Oh, friend, you are giving me way too much credit. I don't even have, I don't even know how to do the what's up app. I mean, I got my, so I take care of three of my grandcuties. They live with me, and the kindergarten class room parent started that. And she always tells me, but I send you something. And I'm like, can you just text me? Because I don't even know. I don't even know that. I don't know that. And so that's why I was just saying, but I'm going to try, Manny, I'm going to try and do better. You know, like I said, if I missed it, it's not because I intentionally missed it.
But Nelly, let me give you a solution. Put
I'm
your
listening.
email on your phone.
It is on my phone, Manny.
So, okay, like first, I only have two emails on my phone. One is Braeburn Glen, and the other one is one of the emails that I basically only use to make payments. So anytime I get an email, it leaves me a message.
Okay. Well,
And
it is on there, and I only have one email. Oh my God, I wouldn't even know how to set up another one. I only have one.
and so you set it up. So if I send it, if I send you an email, your phone should tell you that.
I'll tell my daughter to see if there's like a ping. Like I know I get a ping when I do Zelle, because I serve on a committee for the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. So when somebody sells me money because they're buying tickets for me, I could hear. I think it's Zelle that gets like a little cha-ching sound.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask her to check to see if she can help me. She's my IT person, by the way. If she can help me to set up a ping for when I get an email.
Let me go through all these questions. So, because it's getting late.
Yeah, it is. I know.
Are you going to be president forever? Nothing is forever. So, no, I hope not. If nothing else, I know I'm going to die one day. Seal security, we've looked at it. Different presidents have looked at it. We simply cannot afford it. They said, why not collect for 2026? Alexis had a point. Actually, Alexis mentioned 2027. She had already voted in favor of not collecting for 2026. How can the board decide things for 2027? The only thing we're deciding for 2027 are the basically collection or fees, which are always done the year previously, have always been done that way. Our neighborhood is small enough to patrol. It's true. And certainly everyone is welcome to get on their car and patrol, just, be eyes and ears. But as far as setting up a watch patrol, there's a lot of legal complications. You actually really, the city recommends you go through training. I would like to know who is the treasurer, secretary, and president. Right now, technically nobody. I guess I'm the interim president. And we can decide that next board meeting. If Nellie wants to be the president, she can be the president. If the other board members agree. One is, I guess, just being rental property owners can pay $50. Well, that's true. And in fact, rental property owners are usually very good about paying. It's the property owners that don't pay. I haven't gotten a newsletter. Do you mail them? We hand delivered one newsletter last year. We're doing emails simply because just the stamp costs 78 cents. For us to mail a newsletter would cost us about $500 if we send one to every homeowner. We need to continue the spray. Well, we got the mosquito spraying going on for another 2 years. He is coercing the board. I'm not sure what that means, but I don't think I twisted anybody's arm. Oh no. Why is it important to waive dues for 26, 27 now? I'm not sure if it's important, but I think homeowners should know that for the next 2 years, and like I stated during the board meeting, that concentrate on the people that are behind on payment. We have people that are 5, 6 years and more behind. Our bylaw says we will have an election in 25. Yes, it did. Some board members kind of stymied that from happening. General meeting, March.
Manny, do you have a date for that March meeting?
Nelly,
No?
I
Not
know
yet?
that Tuesday is trash collection.
Okay.
I, you know, I look at the calendar to see what's a good day. Traditionally, they've been done on Tuesdays, but there's no set date that it has to be on. Normally, it's either the second or third week of the month. What gives you the right to decide if it's an election? If you go back, and I believe it's recorded in October meeting, we were ready to have ballots and ballots mailed out. You're welcome to go look at the YouTube video. It's on our website.
Just keep in mind that March, it's also rodeo time. So we might lose some people because they might be at a concert. So
We had a board member that never came in March because they always volunteered for the rodeo.
yeah, like I said, I'm starting my 15th year volunteering with the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. And right now I have my calendar open to March. And it starts March the 1st and it ends the 22nd. So, I mean, a lot of us wait for this time of the year to pop up, and a lot of us love our country and all the other music that the rodeo brings. But I don't want to get dinged for not coming to a meeting. So I'm letting you know ahead of time. Maybe you can do it after the rodeo.
So are you saying not in March?
No, I'm saying like if you wait for like the 24th of March, the rodeo is done by then. It's a Tuesday.
I'll look at the calendar. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Somebody wants to know what's my intention with the HOA. Actually, I really think we should go back to being a civic club. It's much easier being a civic club than an HOA. All the rules, the deed restrictions, everything still apply, except we don't have mandatory dues. And we don't have the problem that we had when the management company and the board were attempting to basically, they did pass it and they did record it where they could start foreclosing on homes, on people for not paying their assessments. Imagine losing your house for $100 or $200. It does, that just, to me, that is just wrong. And that's what's happening. They can deny they were doing it, but they recorded the government the document in the county courthouse saying foreclose. Not only that, they were going to allow the civic club to buy some of those foreclosed properties. I'm not sure why they even would want to do that. And so I had a problem with that. I had a problem with them, sending out letters and for collection that they should not have been sending out. Let me go to. Why not hold an election? Last time we had an election, and I actually forced the election because they actually had a nominating committee, and they were only going to allow certain people to be on the board. Well, state law says you can't do that. So I forced an election, and I actually recruited people, and I'm sure that's what happened this time. I recruited people to run for every single position. And they didn't like the results, even though they controlled the ballots, they controlled the emails. Just to give you an idea, I ran for treasurer, not for president. I got 75% of the vote. So it's not that I can't do that. I still have a very good working relationship with a large number of people in this neighborhood. You'll be surprised how many of them emailed me, and they're glad they didn't have to pay this year's assessments. So, I answer every email. I try to help people. I suggest they try to help themselves first. Homeowner who doesn't identify themselves likes to, Manny, why do you keep shooting down people? If Craig wants to be president, tell him to volunteer. We'll make him president. He can try all his ideas. So it's that they said, they're encouraging him to do that. I have no problem with that. HOA is a nonprofit and not for a profit. That is why we collect dues. Actually, most HOAs have amenities. That means they have parks, they have swimming pools, they have common properties that they have to maintain and they're responsible for. We don't. We don't have any common properties that we have to maintain. So yes, we're a nonprofit, but that doesn't mean we just accumulate money for what? They accuse me of treating Craig like Whitmire treats Pollard, but that's fine. Like I said, if Craig wants to be president, he can be president. Why not hold an election and get people who want to make a difference? Homeowner again. Homeowner, you're still here. Why not identify yourself? The rain garden is part of the flood mitigation. No, it's not. Can you answer questions on the chat? I'm doing that now. Going to be president forever? No, nothing is forever. Why do you not trust people that have lived over 60 years? That's an interesting question. I'm 76. I trust myself. And yes, we do need new blood, and Greg certainly is welcome to be here, but I don't know how many of you speak Spanish, but you know, when we're little, my dad would, well, at least me, he would say, puedes aprender de dos maneras. Alguien te puede decir qué pasa o puedes aprender a cascorones. What that means is you can either listen to people who have already gone through things, or you can get the hard knocks on your head yourself. You know, I have no problem with people learning the hard way, but it's much easier if you take the advice of somebody who's already gone through it. I believe I asked almost everybody if they wanted to be on the board. So I'm not sure I'm turning anybody away. And in fact, if you go back and look, I had a slate that I presented to the board. The problem they had is that I was running to be a director. They didn't want me to run. I don't know if there's anybody that has lived here their whole life, but I've been here since 1978. Oh, I know there's some people that don't that don't like me. In fact, they claim that when the board won in 22, that the property values were going to go down, that this was going to become a trashy neighborhood. And I'll be honest with you, the neighborhood does need some cleaning. And I am going to dedicate some more time on sending letters out, but I do need volunteers to take pictures of those properties, send them to me. I'll send letters out. Now, if you want to do it yourself, that's fine. You want to, I think they said send an email to everybody, see if they want to volunteer to be on the board. You know, actually, there's another board that's supposed to exist. We're supposed to have an architectural board. So, you know, anybody wants to volunteer for that, they're welcome to. If there's no more questions, y'all have a good evening. I'm surprised I've talked that long. I'm not used to talking for so long. So I'm stopping the recording. Everything's been recorded.